What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Miguel. You're watching Miguel EDC, the channel where we talk everything EDC gear here. The channel where we talk everything EDC gear here. Today we're looking at the Kizer Hyper. This knife right here, we unboxed this knife about a little bit over a week ago, and I've been getting a chance to carry this thing non-stop, just trying to gather as much feedback, as much information about the knife and the carry experience as possible to be able to share here with you on this comprehensive review. Excited about this one. You guys are going to want to check this one out all the way through, especially if you're interested on picking this one up for yourself or just for fun, because you know we love we knife people like to learn about knife and designs and action and materials and all that good stuff. So huge shout out to Lefty EDC for his knife pass around, the opportunity to check this one out. Make sure to follow Lefty EDC here on YouTube if you aren't already. That being said, let's go ahead and get started here with this knife. First things first, let's do a quick hardware check on this bad boy. We're looking at a total of just a tad bit over 7 inches, more like 7.1, 7.09 overall. The blade length is about 3.1 and the cutting edge is 2.9, around, so maybe, yeah, just a little under 3 inches. And the handle itself overall is going to be 4.2, right? 4.2 or so. Those are your measurements. This one is a medium-sized knife, so it's going to be somewhere on that medium knife range. Of course, let's do some size comparisons. Here is the PM2, the Para 3, right? So it's going to be more so territory here with the Para 3, but it's actually a little bit shorter, maybe a ½ inch, quarter inch on each side. Here's the Demko AD 20.5 and the shark's foot blade, and the AD 20.5 in the clip point blade. And as you can see, the Hyper is just a tad bit smaller than both of them. Wrap Model 1 here and the Wrap Model 2. So perhaps very comparable with the Model 2. It might be perhaps right on the money there with the Model 2. You guys take a look there for yourself. Here's the CJRB Pyrite right here, and the Civivi Vision FG, right? Check it out right here. The Vision FG is a much larger knife overall, and if anything, probably compares a tad bit to the Pyrite, although it's just maybe a quarter inch smaller right there. And it would only be fair if we compare it to some other Kizer knives. So we have some other button locks here to check out. This one is the Kizer KUH, and this one is the Dogfish, right? So check it out right here. Again, pretty medium size, actually smaller than the other two to be exact, right? Smaller than the KUH, smaller than the Dogfish. And of course, all these knives are linked down below if you guys want to learn more about any of these knives, if you want to check them out, check details. If you're interested in purchasing any of these knives, it does help out the channel when you purchase a knife through those links, but that's entirely up to you and at absolutely no extra cost. With that in mind, what do we have going on for materials here? So we have a aluminum handle, right? Handle going on here. It's like a two-piece to it, right? We have on this one, we have some green and purple going on. I believe the original colors were the red and blue, and you could actually get the purple and green scales and swap them. I believe that's what Lefty EDC did with this one. Check out the Hyper content on his channel if you haven't already. And so aside from that, on the blade we have S35 VN, which is a mid-grade steel here. This one, they call it the bubble stonewash. I'm not sure what's different about regular stonewashed and bubble stonewash, but I will tell you there is quite a bit of reflectivity to it. You can see my chin right there and my glasses, you know, up looking up on my nostrils right there. Yeah, it does have a certain amount of reflectivity to it, which is nice. The Kizer calls this a drop point blade, but I think this is more so a modified sheep's foot, right? Warncliffe, you know, maybe more sheep's foot than anything, because it does have a bit of belly to it. It does have a flat grind going on up until that line that you see there. And this thing is a very, very slicey one, to say the least. You'll see that in just a moment when we do the paper and cardboard cutting test. It does have the Kizer logo on this side, and on the other side we have S35 VN up on the corner here. And it does have a number, right? It says number 0470. I'm not sure if these are limited or what's going on there, but it does have, maybe that's the model number going on there perhaps. And the model is printed right here on the spine of the blade, which, by the way, notice there is no jimping there, right? Perhaps that was done on purpose, right, as a design choice. Right there it says Hyper. All right, as far as deployment options, we have a button deployment, right? It is a plunge lock, button lock, right? So very typical, very common for button locks to be a plunge lock. We do have the thumb deployment as well. Got some nice rounded thumb studs on this one, which are nice and comfortable to use. Right, can build enough pressure on them to fire the knife open. And we got one on the other side for that reverse action. Boom, we can do that all day, every day, as long as I am trying. What's interesting about this one, which you probably noticed right away about the handle itself, going back to the handle for a second, is the fact that it is unlike any other knife that you've probably seen. It is a bit see-through here. It has some very, very unique lines, and that's honestly what they, based on what I'm reading on their website, that is exactly what they were going for, with some futuristic lines, unlike what you see on your everyday run-of-the-mill knives out there. They took inspiration from hyper cars, right? That's why the name is hyper, right? Hyper car, or very high performance cars, if you will. The different colors, right, and the different aesthetics to the handle is supposed to resemble a car spoiler, or the two-tone kind of aesthetics to a Maybach. Again, this is all straight from their website, sort of what the inspiration is for this knife. And I can see some of that. It certainly is futuristic, right? The fact that it is so, it looks so open with that see-through opening on the handle on both sides. That's quite interesting. It is a sandwich construction. We have a standoff right here towards the back, and it is aluminum, so it is going to be pretty lightweight. So let's just get the scale out here and get the weight taken care of. Look at that, 2.7 ounces. 2.7 ounces right there, really light. Just for reference, that Kizer KUH is a little bit heavier at 3 ounces, and the Dogfish comes in at 3.4. Dogfish also has aluminum handles, and the KUH has micarta handles. Okay, so going back to the Hyper, we're looking at 2.7 ounces. All right, so very light knife. All right, if you are into a small to medium EDC that is lightweight, that's under 3 ounces, this is a great contender right here. The action on this thing is phenomenal. So this is a very fidgety knife. The action is really good. I want to say, based on the lefty videos that I saw, I believe Kevin put skiffs on this one. I'm not sure if he ended up taking them off, but if he left them in here, I gotta tell you, the action is really good. Like, the drop shot is great. Like, you could just see me right here activating it, like just playing with it, fidgeting with it. It is really good. Detent is the actual plunge itself, so we don't have a specific detent on this one. The plunge works as the detent, and it just provides enough tension, I guess, to be able to fire it open with the thumb studs and the reverse flick and the button itself. So that's very nice. And honestly, it really good. Let's talk the blade stock thickness on this one. It's actually pretty thin, right? It's coming in at 0.12, which is pretty common for pretty much the majority of knives these days. And look at that, the thickness is right about almost half an inch, so 0.49. Let's just call it 0.50. Really, that's half an inch, which is what most folding knives that I see in this channel here kind of aim for. So that means, ergonomically speaking, this knife is pretty comfortable in the hand. So I have average hands, or not the biggest, not the smallest of hands. I can get my full full grip right here. There's a curvature right there in the handle for your index finger. All other fingers follow suit. All right, that feels good. Pocket clip is actually not uncomfortable at all. Honestly, it has curvature here in the back, and it does drop a bit, and the raise is very shallow, right? Very small, so that really helps with the ergonomics department. And yeah, notice that my index finger is pretty far away from the button itself, so I'm not gonna activate it by accident or push it by accident or anything. You have to be very intentional. And even then, even if I try, like, I barely have just enough, like, I really have to go out of my way to press that button, is what I'm trying to say. So that is good right there. So lock up on this one, no side to side, no up and down play. This thing is solid, robust, not moving anywhere. Smack in the middle. Right, that blade is nice in the line. Also, carry profile here. Let's check thickness against the PM2. Actually, probably a little thicker than the PM2. What about something like a Demko AD 20.5? Maybe a little bit thicker. And I don't know, last but not least, the Vision FG from Civivi. Maybe a tad bit thicker than that, but not by much. Length and height in the pocket. Really, what I like about this one a lot is the fact that the blade tucks into the handle like a good amount, like maybe 90%, 85, 90% of the blade is tucked away. So you're not gonna have a situation like you do with Spyderco knives where, you know, because of the Spidey hole, it's actually a pretty tall blade out of the handle, or like with a Demko AD 20.5. So it's gonna be more so in line with something like Wrap Model 2. It's actually very comparable, you know, length and height to the Wrap Model 2. And perhaps something like the KUH, right? The KUH also has a similar situation where the blade actually 100% tucks away in the KUH. So these are very, you know, makes for a very, very elegant knife, very slim profile, right? Nice to carry, right? It's not going to be bulky or wide in the pocket in any way, shape, or form. Let's do a hardware check on this bad boy. As usual, my tools are highly recommended and linked down below. They are part of the Stravito tool set. Just kind of gives you every single bit you could possibly need for all your EDC needs or even DIY projects around the house. So let's start with a T8 because I am seeing big hardware on this one. Pivot is T8, body screws are T8. And that is a win right there, Kizer. Good job. The only thing that I see that's a little bit on the small side, and honestly, it's sort of okay, is the one side, one thumb stud does have a T6. So T8s are preferable, but you know, a T6 on the thumb stud, not really gonna complain or whine about that. The body screws, the pivot, everything else is T8, which is awesome. I like the fact that the button is nice and tucked away right there. It's not a really proud button, right, which reduces the amount or the possibilities of pressing it accidentally. It also has its own indented section where it's housed, as a matter of fact. So it's not actually housed at the same surface level as the rest of the handle, but instead it has like a subsurface section where it's actually housed, and that makes it nice and tucked away. It's not like extra proud, but yeah, you just, you know, very easy to activate, engage, and disengage. There is not sensing any sort of button stick, right, or anything like that, which is good on this one. So smooth, like honestly, really, really smooth. This knife right here is super, super fidgety. And you know me, right? Don't tempt me with a good time. Don't tempt me with a good fidgety EDC knife, because that is my wheelhouse right there. I love me a knife with multiple deployment options, and here you have at least 3, right? With the button, with the thumb stud, and the reverse flick, all day, every day. Super lightweight, right? Got the deep carry pocket clip, so it's gonna pretty much hide about 98% of the knife, which is not bad. What's interesting here, and I noticed, is the fact that I was checking out Lefty's video. He ended up taking the knife apart. So something good, and a good and a bad in a way, right? So they call this the hidden clip design because the portion of the clip that is tight to the handle is actually tucked away, so there's never going to be any friction with any like proud screws or anything from this side. This day and age, you know, countersunk screws and inset pocket clips do exist, so I mean they also solved that issue. But here they wanted to make a more clean design. They wanted the pocket clip to sort of loop around and go into the sort of like a sandwich construction in between the scales, right, where the, if you can see here, where the green and the purple sort of meet. And the idea is that you should be able to do the same on the other side. The only issue is when you flip it around, it doesn't necessarily translate the same exact way. So that's what's going on there. So perhaps they needed to have sent a different pocket clip. I'm not sure if they actually sent one, and I just didn't receive it when I got it, but that is the only way to make this reversible. It is a, you know, button lock. These are very ambidextrous knives, so you would think that they would include the lefty clip. In this case, Kevin himself is a left-handed knife user, so you know, just maybe an opportunity right there if you are a lefty. The right intentions were there, right? The cutout and everything is there for a lefty mounted clip. It's just you need basically a mirror image of this right-handed clip in order for it to work on the left side. So it's sort of the same situation that you have with, let's say, Demko knives. They ship with a right side pocket clip, but also in the box they include the left side pocket clip in case you're lefty, which makes a lot of sense. So all their knives ship with a lefty clip. So maybe that's, you know, something that they should have done with this knife if they didn't already. Again, I'm not entirely sure because this one did not come with a lefty clip, but you know, I'm just gonna leave it right there. If you're a righty, that's not a biggie. If you're a lefty, I'm sure if you reach out to Kizer, right, they might be able to send one your way for free or at a very low cost, I'm sure, right? It's worth looking into. But with that being said, I'm trying to think of what else am I missing here that I haven't covered yet. I mean, honestly, it's a very, very interesting design, to say the least, right? The futuristic aspect is certainly here, which is good. It's nice and comfortable. It definitely checks that box. It is a small to medium size, so not too big, not too small, which is perfect for EDC. The action is great. It has a fidget factor to it also. Reliable, right? I guess the only thing left to do is to get the 2x4 or 2x1 stick of truth here and do a quick walk test on this one and make sure I got my fingers out of the way. All right, that's not going anywhere, you guys. And honestly, I don't need to do it any harder than that. All right, what I'm not gonna do is I'm not gonna take 2 steps back and then come forward and then just whack it as hard as I can, because that's really not really an accurate test. Under no circumstances an EDC knife like this is going to be under more pressure than what we just did, and it did well, right? It remained in place. It did not cave into the button lock test. So again, it is nice and robust. There's no movement, 0 movement here. This is as rock solid as it can get, and you still get this smooth action going on here, which is wonderful. So let's do a quick scientific paper cutting test with this knife. I mean, this one did pretty good, I want to say. Right, so it might be around time where it might need a little bit of a strop, if anything, but you know, still gets some good slices going once it bites. All right, let's check that out. Let me see if I can work my magic really quick. All right, went ahead and gave it a nice little strop there off camera, and let's see if it makes a difference here. Oh yes, right off the bat you can see it's biting a little bit better, creating some swirls, right? Nice and easy right there. Yeah. Certainly cutting quite a bit better right there. So you guys be the judge. That one caught right there a little bit towards the end. So yeah, we know we can do paper all day, every day. What about some cardboard? So I have what's left of this cardboard from making a short video earlier. Just some everyday diaper box cardboard. Remember, when cutting cardboard, don't cut perpendicular, but rather at an angle like this. And it would look something like this. Here we go. Yeah, this thing is going to be a slicer for sure. It does have that flat grind that is going to be really good for slicing through the material. And so yes, it's gonna go ahead and annihilate single wall cardboard without any issues at all. And you guys go ahead and rate it in the comments, right? How sharp is this guy? Definitely touching up the blade there did sort of bring it back to life a tad bit, to help a bit. I could feel the difference in the paper, but keep in mind it's not brand new out of the box. It has seen some use. So you guys rate it in the comments on a scale from 1 through 10. So from what I see, there are 2 versions to this knife. Again, this one is the aluminum one with S35 VN. The price on this one is $119. There is a more premium version of this knife. That one has LMAX steel and it has titanium handles. I believe that one has like a black and white aesthetics. Me personally, I would have loved that black and white aesthetics, or maybe like a gray tone, like a darker gray and a lighter gray tone. I don't know what it is about the purple and green. It's just, you know, they're 2 completely different colors. They are not complementary colors. I believe the purple will go with yellow. The complementary color of green is red. So, you know, I'm not sure kind of what they're going with here. I get the whole idea of being 2-tone, like a Maybach. Again, going back to what I read on their website, but maybe 2 closer together colors would have been more my taste. Again, that black and white on the titanium version with LMAX looks pretty sweet, and that one comes in at $179. Again, these are going to be linked down below in case you want to check them out. It does help the channel when you use those links, but that is entirely up to you. So S35VN is a good mid-grade steel, right? Has a good potential hardness, toughness, etch retention, and corrosion resistance. We know Spyderco uses S35VN quite a bit, right? So it's pretty much a higher premium steel than something like 154CM or anything like that. Obviously way higher premium category than like D2, 14C28N, Nitro V, and so on. So, and the stonewash right here is pretty beautiful as well, right? Let me give it a nice little wipe here after all that cutting that we did. So it's a beautiful knife. it's a very, very nice knife. I really enjoy my time with it. Super fidgety, super comfortable, super light also, so great for EDC purposes. This works great as a primary knife. Also works great as a secondary knife, right? There's a certain level of elegance to it. The handles are nice and contour all around, which is good. It is comfortable, ergonomically speaking, accommodates an average hand. If you had bare paws, you know, maybe you run out of room, but you know, it doesn't have a forward choke option, but you could forward choke carefully if you know what you're doing. And there is no jimping on the spine, you know, so me personally, I would have appreciated a little bit of jimping, right? Some companies are now starting to do jimping like halfway through the blade, but maybe I can see where they didn't do it on this one for aesthetic purposes. But yes, a very, very functional knife. Great for EDC tasks. Even though it has a little bit of belly to it, you can still do some draw cuts with it. That tip is nice and low, below the pivot point, if you will. So you can do a little pinch and grip, right? Get some draw cuts going on right there, or what have you. And yeah, it's such a nice, quick knife to get in and out of the pocket, cut what you need to cut, packages, you know, all your EDC needs, paper, cardboard, anything, and then just put it right back in your pocket and you're good to go. My preference would have been, again, that black and white handles. I mean, I love titanium, so perhaps the more premium version of this knife would have been more so my taste. The purple here and green might be aesthetic choice of someone else, not me per se. Even the red and blue, I don't know. There's just something about those colors. I really like my knives to be as monochrome as they can get, right? So, you know, for example, the Demko AD 20.5 right here and the titanium handles, you know, grays. I love grays. If I can get gray, a black or darker gray, so something like that would look really good. And that's what that premium LMAX steel and titanium handles one looks like. So yeah, pretty awesome, very recommendable knife here indeed. Had a really good time with this one. Very, very good action, very reliable. I feel like Kizer did a really good job. Just the overall delivery on this knife, what this knife sets to accomplish, what it does, right? It does definitely get that futuristic approach carried across, without a doubt. There's no other knife that I've seen that carries similar profile lines as this one does, especially with that, you know, opening in between the middle there. That is very unique, very different, and yeah, definitely gives it quite the amount of personality. But other than that, you know, big hardware all around, you know, deep pocket carry clip, a little bit about the reversible clip, which I talked about earlier if you wanted to nitpick. But other than that, I mean, it's a very, very well balanced knife, really good for EDC, awesome steel, right? Great fit and finish. And this one is going strong, going really well. The aluminum has some scratches here and there, but it's hanging on pretty good. So I can see with time, as time goes by, it might get some wear and tear here and there, kind of gives it more personality. But as long as you take care of your tools, you're gonna be okay. As long as you don't take out your knife and just shove it across the pavement each and every single time you use it, you actually take care of it, you're gonna be okay with the aluminum scales. Or if you wanna just, you know, go ahead and graduate, go all the way to that titanium handles or scales, you certainly can do that as well. So super interesting knife, highly recommend it. Check it out, link down below, guys. Let me know what I miss, if anything, in this video. What else do you want to know about this knife? Let me know questions down below. If there's anything that I left on the table that is unanswered, I'll be happy to answer those questions in the comments. If you made it to this point in the video, you guys are the real MVPs. I really appreciate every single one of you. Go ahead and smash that like button for me if you haven't already. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. It really helps the channel grow. I promise you it'll be worth coming back for more. I make knife and EDC content like this on a daily basis. If you want to support the channel a step further, there is a link for Patreon down below, or you can simply support the channel right here on YouTube. Becoming a channel member, you'll get access to exclusive perks. I hope you guys have a fantastic day. Check out the unboxing on the Kizer Dogfish, not to be confused with the catfish, but the Dogfish. All jokes aside, this is a great knife I'm currently carrying right now. Kizer is just doing a really, really awesome job. And so unboxing on this one is live in the channel. Review coming up. There'll be a video card for it right here for you guys to see that video next. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. I really love and appreciate every single one of you. Take care, guys, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.